Luxury isn't built for longevity anymore. It's built for shock and awe. And fast fashion works off of the premise of planned obsolescence. So what happens when two things like that collide? You get the mess that we have right now. People are overspending, overpaying, and under-receiving on everything. The only way to fix that is by figuring out what luxury actually is and what it means, not just to the world around you, but to you as an individual. Hey sugar, I'm the Black Magnolia, your favorite bougie babe, bringing you all your bougie but budget-friendly tips and faves, and a little bit of everything in between. Today is more of the in-between. If you're anything like me, you're trying to be really smart about how you spend your money and where you put it when it comes to investing in, not in your financial future, but in your physical future when it comes to things like clothing, furniture, fragrance, all of those things. While they may not be the biggest issues in the grander scheme of life right now, they're still important because we want to feel good, we want to look good, we want the things around us to be beautiful and make us feel beautiful. But it's expensive and it's kind of stupid how much muck and mire we have to wade through to figure out what's what. The idea of what luxury actually is nowadays to people has become something that is synonymous with wealth signaling and labels. So if something has a YSL or a Dior or a Gucci label on it, then all of a sudden people think, oh my gosh, that's expensive, that's luxurious. Which is why the market for dupes and lookalikes has gotten so huge in the past 5 to 10 years. Not just for people who were in the know, because let's be real, rich people have been buying dupes and knockoffs for a really long time. Designer-inspired fashion isn't a secret anymore. It's a cultural shift. It's no longer about faking it. It's about smart, accessible style. And everyone from all generations and income brackets are looking for a way to elevate their lives without paying ludicrous prices to do so. Ultimately, it's not about the price tag. It's about how you curate and style your wardrobe and your life. That's why I like to lean in on my channel on designer-inspired items, because I feel like if you can find something that's good quality that still gives you a luxury feel, you're not missing out. Sometimes, do we want a label? Absolutely. Yes, I'm not going to say no. Don't hate the player, hate the game. I used to be a label trollop. However, I have since reformed my ways, and I know better now that not everything has to have a label. When I was younger, I spent so much time and money trying to get things that had logos and things that had labels and things that were designer and things that I thought were luxury. I don't even know where half that stuff is anymore. It's gone. It's in the breeze, and I feel so silly. Now, there are pieces that I do choose to invest in. They're just not pieces like this. Like this Balenciaga masking tape bracelet, or even better, the Balenciaga plastic grocery bag. Do you see how much this costs? This is stupid. Well, what about these really ugly Chanel loafers? Can we have a moment of silence for the ignorance that is taking place here? I am not calling anybody ignorant who likes these shoes. What I am saying is, for me to have to walk around and make sure my pedicure is taken care of and still spend several thousands of dollars on a pair of shoes seems a little crazy to me. At least let me hide if my toes is busted up for the day. I mean, usually they're not. But if they are, let my feet have anonymity. Also, I'm not trying to let my toes be out in the Publix for everybody for free all the time. No, let's cover it up. But this is what we're calling luxury. We are calling anything with a label or a high price tag luxurious, and that is just not the case. And at the end of the day, most of your favorite influencers are getting a lot of these designer items either for free, being gifted things by designers on brand trips, or they're getting PR and they're getting this stuff for free. Or some of the scammy people are out there buying stuff and then turning around and returning it. So it's not actually stuff that they're keeping and making long-term, large financial decisions on. It's not hurting their pocket. But for those of us who have to actually spend our money, we need to learn how to spend it the right way and actually learn what luxury is. But fast fashion brands understand that most of us everyday people can't afford a Bottega or a Chanel, so they sell us a version of the dream that we can afford. So it's almost like now luxury fashion houses are creating the blueprint and doing the heavy lifting, putting all that stuff out on the runway for everybody to see and fall in love with and go, making fewer sales because there's not a lot of people who are out there spending $10, $20, $30,000 on an Hermes Birkin. We all have a Workin or a Firkin or a Boatkin. I love those things and they're actually really good. Do I have brand name? Absolutely, yes I do. However, where I want to spend the majority of my money is not on a $10,000 Hermes bag. So these large brands are doing all that heavy lifting, like I said, and they're making fewer sales, but way more money. But then it's like these luxury brands look at the Zara's, H&M's, and Sheins of the world and say, here you go, hand us your beer, go and make all of this stuff. You go do that and we'll start on next season. Okay? That way, everybody gets what they want. Everybody's so creative. But it's true. That's what it really feels like to me in the world right now, because you can't tell me that as quickly as these fashion houses come out with these things for every single season, and these other fast fashion brands can come right behind them immediately and just create the same things that quick. You can't tell me they aren't talking to each other, or at least that their factories aren't talking to each other. I'm just saying, all of this is alleged. I don't know any of this stuff. I am just saying what I think I see from what I see from when I see things. Okay. It's a real hippo-birdie symbiotic relationship. These fast fashion brands know that in order to keep our attention as consumers, they've got to stay trendy. They've got to stay up with what people want to wear or what they think people want to wear. And all of that happens during Paris Fashion Week and New York Fashion Week and Milan Fashion Week. All of these fashion weeks that go on, it's not just a fashion week, it's like a fashion year. All of these things go on and the trends are set for every season. So right now we're in summertime, but have you walked into a Hobby Lobby? Have you smelled all the autumn candles and seen all of the Thanksgiving decorations out yet? Yeah, it kind of makes me a little nauseous, but it's the same way with fashion. What they do is they start to plan ahead and start to look towards what that Pantone color of the year is going to be. They start looking at what things are starting to trend around the fringes, what the it girls and fashion icons might be eyeing and looking at and wearing out every now and again, and how they can turn that into something that's mass appealing and that everybody's going to want to wear, but that not everybody can afford, until the rest of us can get it off the rack and do a little pret-a-porter. That's how it is. It's not just influenced by fashion icons like Rihanna, Kim Kardashian, Hailey Bieber. It's not just those girls. It's also home design. So when you start to see what colors are trending in home design and whether or not we're trending towards minimalism or maximalism when it comes to home design, it's the same thing with fashion. Everything starts to go in the same direction. And right now in fashion and in home design, we are all about maximalism. Or, like I've said before, I'm a minimalist, not a maximalist, and not a minimalist. I'm right there in the middle. My family begs to differ. They say that I am 100% a maximalist, but I feel like when you start to look at the trends and how they line up that way, it's really easy to figure out where things are going and whether or not you want to invest and spend money on those things. And look, I love luxury. I already told you, I'm a luxury trollop. It is what it is. I love a good Chanel. I do. I love luxury makeup. There are things that I am willing to spend on, but it's all about knowing whether it's worth the spend. Just because something is expensive does not mean it is worth what they are charging you. When it comes to my clothes, I'm not going to spend a whole bunch of money on something, especially if it's trendy, that I don't think is going to last in my closet over the next 5 to 10 years. Like if I'm going to be embarrassed to go out in it, because I do have some things like that. We don't talk about that here. If you've watched my other videos, this is a judgment-free zone. There are things that I own that I look back on and I spent a considerable coin on, and I think to myself,
oh, stop it!
Yeah, what is you doing? Baby, what was wrong with you? I'm very impulsive when it comes to things. So what I have to do, I have learned myself, I got to do it like you do perfume. You spray it on and you walk around the store for a little while. And then if you still like it later, you come back to it. I at some points have had like $11,000 worth of goodies in my Amazon cart. But you just don't click buy because you got to make sure what you are looking for and what you are going to buy is actually worth the spend. And learning the difference between luxury and quality is essential to this entire way of thinking. Something can have a high price tag and be trending everywhere and be actual garbage. But because it comes in a box that's a certain color or that has a certain label on it or a certain logo, everybody thinks that it's special and it signals that we are worthy of something or wealthy, when really it just signals a lot of dysregulated spending. Yeah, it's sad. Also, not just the difference between luxury and quality, but the difference between designer and luxury. We've got to be able to make sense of all of this in order for us to be able to spend and spend well. Nowhere can the difference between luxury and quality, designer and luxury be seen than in fragrance. You can walk into any Sephora in the mall and find Gucci, Dior, Chanel,
all expensive and desire brands.
But they're usually at more attainable price points because they're fragrances or makeup. And I say attainable loosely because a $65 Tom Ford foundation isn't attainable for everybody. But what I mean is, in the grand scheme of a fashion house like a Tom Ford or a Gucci or a Dior, where a jacket or a pair of shoes will cost you anywhere upwards of like $3,000 to $10,000, a $75 foundation or a $200 fragrance is technically more attainable. And it's considered luxury and it's considered designer. But here's what I think about that. What I actually consider luxury, especially when it comes to fragrance, is a fragrance that has a high oil content or a body oil. This is not a sponsored video. I love the oil perfumery. So I have these little lip gloss holders and I keep all of my perfume oils in here. And this is just one of them that I have. I have a ton of these. And what I like is that you can get interpretations and inspired versions of all of your favorite perfumes in a perfume oil. And what I do love, especially about the oil perfumery, is that the longevity and the sillage on these is crazy because it is 100% oil. And I gotta say, a lot of their interpretations are really close to the actual designer version. One of my favorites is this one. And it's the Armani Prix Rouge Malachite. This was my very first time smelling this was a few years ago when I got this, and I loved it. And it was divine. It just smelled really, really good. And the Rouge Malachite is one of my all-time 100% will always keep in my fragrance collection fragrances, but I had to save up to get it. And it was something that I decided I wanted to invest in because it did feel like a luxury to me because the scent smelled exactly like I wanted it to. Honestly, I wasn't missing anything with it because I had this beautiful oil. I don't know if you can see that, if it's picking it up, but that's the fragrance and it's all oil. And so that is gonna last on my skin. I think this oil perfumery oil cost me $19. Now, because I told you, the Rouge Malachite is now one of like my all-times in my collection. I have it twice. I told you, luxury trollop. I started out with this. This to me was a luxury. It's not something that I need. It's not something that I had to have. It's not essential for my well-being. It is not essential for my financial health. It is a luxury. It is something that helps me feel beautiful and wonderful and put together. And I can do it for under $20. That to me is a luxury because it's something that makes me feel good. It's not a necessity, it's an extra, and it helps make my day feel that much more elevated. Not only is it luxurious to me, it is also good quality. It lasts a really long time. I get so many compliments when I wear this, when I wear any of these fragrances that I have. But then what I realized is that I was ready to actually indulge and do the spend on the designer thing. And I went out and I got the perfume. So this is something that turned into not just something that was good quality and that I found luxurious, but became an actual luxury staple in my fragrance wardrobe. And not even using girl math, I am going to save on this in the long run because I don't have to spray as much of the actual perfume on when I use the perfume oil. I'm gonna use the two of them together. My base layer is gonna be this oil, and then I will spray fewer sprays of this on, which is gonna allow me to keep this longer. And that's, to me, a $19 fragrance oil is a luxury because of how it makes me feel. It's not about how much it costs because the inspired version of Rouge Malachite was $19. This bottle, it's embarrassing how much it costs, but it's a good perfume. It's a forever perfume. It's one that I will always have in my collection. So I spent on it because I knew it was something that I was really going to treasure. And that is where the mind shift comes in. It's not about a label. It's not about a designer. It's not about having all these boxes from all of these designer stores. It's about something that is going to be meaningful to you in the long term. So yes, you can walk into a Sephora or an Ulta and find things that are designer that are a little bit more attainable. But there's always an option. You don't have to spend that way. You can still get quality without having to increase the quantity of the dollars that you're spending. So this is about what we believe luxury is and what we know it should cost. Another place where I see this happen is when it comes to home design. I am a big interior design nerd. That is my jam. I used to be an interior designer years and years ago, and I love making spaces look beautiful. But some of the prices that are charged are astronomical. I get a lot of my home decor. I'll either like thrift it, I'll get it on Amazon. I have found some incredible pieces on Amazon. I get them on Facebook Marketplace through garage sales, and I spruce things up and I make them look the way that I want to. That to me, that makes my space feel luxurious because it feels like me. It does look curated and put together and beautiful, and it makes me happy. And that to me equals luxury. I don't know if any of you have sat on that like $10,000 Restoration Hardware cloud couch. I was jonesing for that thing for so long. Then I sat on it, and I sat on it again, and I sat on it again. And then I saw friends who had it, and it was so flat and smushed and like not comfortable after a few years of wear. And I thought, that's not luxury, that's hype. That's $10,000 worth of hype. If I'm spending $10,000 on a furniture, that thing, I'm sleeping on it, they're burying me with it, I'm taking it on dates, it's gonna take me on dates. For $10,000, this couch better wine and dine me. And so for me, it came down to, let me find something that fits my aesthetic, that's comfortable, and that's going to last. A couch is a huge investment. It's not something that you necessarily want to skimp on, but it's like trash cans. Have you ever gone to buy a trash can? Why are they all $80 to $100? It makes no sense on the surface of it, but guess what? Use your grocery bags or a plastic bag or just a garbage bag. A trash can is a luxury. That's how they're priced. They're priced at a luxury price point. A big, step on it, stainless steel trash can should not cost $150. I can tell you, you can look on any mainstream website and you're going to find that trash cans are expensive because retailers know you need it. They know that you would prefer to throw your garbage in a receptacle rather than in a bag. So why not let's charge them to do it? Now, I don't have a Louis Vuitton trash can, but that's how it feels. So every time I've had to go and get a new trash can, I felt like this is nonsense. A trash can, I feel like, is a necessity, not a luxury, but it's priced as a luxury. And I feel that same way about so many other things. But at the end of the day, what it comes down to is what makes you feel luxurious. So I was in Pottery Barn, and I was wandering around there the other day. They had a collaboration with Love Shack Fancy. I saw this candle. It was perfect. It's not a candle that I would burn. It's a really big, tall pillar candle. If I can find a picture of it, I'll put it up here for you. It's beautiful. I think it was something like $65 for wax. No. I also didn't feel like DIYing a big candle with the napkin and the Mod Podge and the whole thing. I can, but I'm at an age where I don't want to. I don't want to. I want to pay somebody to do it for me, or I want to just buy it off the shelf. When you get to 50, you're going to feel the same way if you're not here already. I'm telling you, if you can pay somebody else to do it for you, or if you can buy it, that's typically how we want to do it. When I was in my 20s and 30s and even into my early 40s, I was like, oh, I can DIY and I still do love a good DIY. Don't get me wrong. However, not always, not all the time. That's what my husband is for. Ike is my DIY. That's his job. I digress. I saw this candle. It was beautiful. And it didn't have anything fancy on it or anything. It was a white candle with pink flowers on it. I waited and it went on sale and I got it for $25. I love this candle. I wanted to zhuzh it up a little bit. So I did a little minor DIY that took me about 2 minutes to do. I got these little rhinestone buttons at Hobby Lobby. I took a little bit of hot glue and melted those suckers into the candle. And I made it look even more bougie than it did before. And did you know bougie in French means candle? Yeah, I am a flame. So I took something that was already really expensive and at a luxury price point. In my mind, any candles that are $20 and over, that's a luxury to me. I'm not gonna go into Bath & Body Works until they're having their 3-wick for $15.99 sale. I get all of my candles when they're on sale at Bath & Body Works, TJ Maxx, Marshalls, Home Goods. The luxury candles that I do choose to splurge on are the Voluspa candles. And I will get them because they do have some scents that I live for. But I know what I'm getting with those. And I'm willing to spend the money on it because in my mind, that is something that I consider a luxury that I am willing to spend on. You can always find a good sale on the Voluspa website. And I think they do carry them at Nordstrom. The anniversary sale is coming up. Let me know if you want me to talk to you about all the things that I'm going to buy there. Because again, things can have a high cost and not have the same level of quality, or they can have the same level of quality and that it's commensurate with the cost, but I don't want to spend that much on it. So I'm going to wait for something to go on sale, like I did with that candle. I'm going to wait for things to be either discontinued and then I can get all of them that I can at a lower price, or I'm going to save up. If it's something that I really do want, I'm going to save up for it. But just because something is expensive does not mean that it is a luxury item. And simply equating something's cost with its worth or its value is a terrible idea and the worst way to spend our money. We're getting ready to wrap up here, sugar, but before we go, if you could do me a huge favor, 2 things. First thing, if you could go down to the comments and let me know what your favorite luxury item is. But remember, it's not about how much something costs. It's about how it makes you feel. What makes you feel luxurious? What makes you feel fancy and bougie and special? What is that thing for you? And after you've left that comment for me, if you could like the video, and if you haven't already, slide on over to that subscribe button, click it, and turn on your notification bell. That way you will never, ever, ever miss a bougie but budget-friendly upload. And let's chat about it. You know, around here, I am your bougie but budget-friendly BFF, and I do engage in the bougie and I do engage in the budget-friendly, and I try to make both of those worlds collide because I feel like every woman needs to be able to feel as beautiful as she absolutely can, no matter what her budget is. And part of that comes down to learning how to spend and learning how to do it in a way that doesn't make you feel like you're missing out, but also doesn't make you feel like you've messed up. I don't want that for you. I want us here in community to build a future for ourselves financially and also build a wardrobe, whether it's a fragrance wardrobe or a clothing wardrobe or shoes, that makes us feel as elegant and as elevated as we want to, but also not go broke while doing it. And if that sounds like something you would love to do more of, again, sugar, subscribe. Oh, also, if you can, hype the video. That's really helpful. But I love hanging out with you. I love being able to talk to you guys. I love talking to you guys down in the comments and hearing everything that you have to say. This video was kind of just a little rant. I was out shopping with my son today and we were just looking at the prices of things, and I was thinking, you know, some stuff just, like, what's the point? Trash cans shouldn't cost $150. I needed a new scale. Why did it cost as much as it did? I don't know, but it did. That's the world we live in. Heal the world, make it a better place. Isn't that what Michael Jackson said? What I'm here to do with you, sugar, is not fix all the world's problems, but just to sit here with my other besties and figure out how we as women who are maturing, who are growing into ourselves, who are coming into our next chapters, whether you're at the beginning of your next chapter in your 30s, or you're in the middle of your next chapter in your 50s like me, or if you're in your 40s or your 60s or beyond, wherever you are, we all deserve to feel our most bougie, beautiful, fabulous best. And I'm here to help you do that. Check this video out up here because I think you're probably going to like it. If I don't think that you're going to like it, it's the algorithm's fault. Okay? So you're either going to love it or it's the algorithm's fault. So either way, I will see you in the next video.